We'll show you the fun, the facts, and the fiction.
Members of the press challenged event organizers Stan and Dion Crosby.
You really don't have a focus here. You don't, I mean, you've got Hubcorn's farm, one alleged crash site. You know, it'd be great if you had a flying saucer, but you don't.
And the owners of the alleged UFO crash site, Hub and Sheila Korn, were bombarded with hordes of tourists.
Has discovering that you own a famous crash site been a blessing or a curse?
You know, in a sense, it is a blessing. Probably by the end of the week, it'll be a curse.
I know it's very busy, but at some point I have to do a picture of you and Stan.
Okay.
Sometime.
Together?
Yeah, together if possible.
At this point, Stan and Dion have done so much with the media, they're almost overwhelmed.
I don't have to bring anybody in here, but I don't want to bring in here. And if I, you know, if that's true, and that's it. If somebody is irritating to me or to Roswell, you know, this is not a democratic organization.
And maybe I need to address your wife a little bit on some of this area, but since you're involved, you know, I mean, you might have an inside track to this.
Dion is in charge of speakers. I have a lot to do with it, and we don't have to have anybody if we don't want them. We've tried to get a good selection of speakers, people that we think will give good stories, and hopefully it'll turn out that way. You know, there's just, I don't know where these folks get off thinking that this Roswell UFO Encounters is a democratic society or part of society. It's not. It's a presentation of the UFO phenomenon in order to benefit Roswell.
Becky and Manuel are the brother and sister team that run the Midway Research and Sightings Center. They've been open for about 3 years. They have a small museum, but they're mostly dedicated to videotaping the skies, which they do 2 to 16 hours a day.
So you must get a stiff neck sometimes.
Yeah, but, well, you know, the rule about exercise. The more you exercise your arm, the stronger it gets. Same thing with the neck.
Are you guys both expecting a lot of people with this Encounter 97 coming up? I mean, you mentioned that you're sort of the best kept,
Roswell's best kept secret. No, we don't expect a lot of people.
Although they're on the official list for Encounter 97, they don't seem to have a lot of contact with other people that are involved in organizing the event.
I called Stan Crosby and asked him to include us on the list, which I was surprised he said okay. Here we go. This thing was seen by over 100 people in Roswell that night. Now see, when that first passed, we're like, what was that? Was that a bird? Was that debris? You know, what was it? And this is all he saw, was a white flash of light.
So I mean, sightings are a daily occurrence. It's not a rare thing at all.
No, no. And you know what? It's probably a rare occurrence all over the world, but people don't even know what they're looking at.
Spend a lot of time waiting, but when it happens, it's well worth it.
They do hover, and when they do, the fighter aircraft are on the spot within at least 5 minutes or so. We've got all types of video where we're taping, they're hovering, then you see the phone company coming over here, then you see the aircraft. So those two are at least here within 5 minutes.
Becky and Manuel are convinced that there's some connection between their UFO sightings and the frequent appearance of the phone company. So I tracked down a phone company person and asked him what he thought. How are you?
Hey, Don.
You with the phone company?
Yeah.
So, you know, we were speaking to Becky and Manuel Escamilla over at the research center right here, and they seem to think that every time they have a sighting, a UFO sighting, the phone company comes out. Do you care to comment? We may be onto something. Is there a connection between the phone company and UFO sightings? And we head out to look into another alleged UFO government cover-up 500 miles away in Rachel, Nevada's Area 51.
Holy smokes. Well, there's something new.
They said that every time there's a major sighting, they're convinced that the phone company is tied into it because they see someone from the phone company come out here.
Well, they must have a major sighting every couple of days or so because, I mean, we're out here all the time. To say that it's connected with the telephone company in any way is ludicrous in my opinion. Depending on your camera equipment, you can come up with all kinds of things.
Do you think anything happened in 47?
Something happened, I figure, you know, or there wouldn't have been such a brouhaha about it, but I don't think it was an alien aircraft.
What do you think about this festival?
I guess it's going to be good, economically speaking. I'll stay home or go to the mountains or someplace, but I'm going to stay away from town. You know, the Muslims go to Mecca and the UFO fanatics come to Roswell.
You can call them angels, you can call them gods, call them devils, call them what you want.
But the real mecca for die-hard UFO enthusiasts may not be Roswell, but over 500 miles away in Rachel, Nevada.
Well, I arrived here in Rachel, Nevada yesterday morning. It's a tiny little town of about 100 people or so, right outside of Area 51. The common belief is that there's been a lot of reverse engineering, meaning that the U.S. government has alien spacecraft in its custody in Area 51, and that by studying the craft, they sort of find out how they work and have recreated spaceships. We've met Bill, who's a young guy from California who said he didn't really have much family, and he found himself here and felt at home and decided to stay put.
I was interested in the area originally. I wanted to see what all the hoopla was about Groom Lake in Area 51.
He works the Alien Inn and spends the rest of his time going off and listening to his scanner to try to pick up frequencies from Area 51.
But what we're listening to is a computer talk here. Oh, what it is they're scrambling today. I go down there whenever anybody's interested in going down and looking at the signs and photographing stuff that you're not supposed to photograph.
I went with Bill out to the border of Area 51. He likes to bring people out there and snoop around, see what he can see.
See, there's a couple of tripods up here with cameras on them. One's dedicated to the road down this way and one's dedicated to the border. Be very careful now. The border is these orange posts and they go on a diagonal up the hill here up to where they're at now. The security guards will not be there when we get there because they don't want to have any confrontations or direct involvement with people.
Have you ever requested your file from the CIA?
Oh, not yet. I figured I'd let them put a few more pages in before I try that one. Holy smokes. Well, there's something new. Holy smokes, look at you.
What do you see?
Right here in this Joshua tree. New cameras. Hey guys, how's it going today? I like to talk to them just to let them know that they can, or that I can hear them. This is just like the tip of the iceberg. You give these guys an unlimited budget and a facility to work in, and the most brilliant minds on the planet, and they're gonna come up with some neat toys, and they're going to come up with some pretty ugly stuff, too. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, baby, come to me.
I acknowledge daily that the prime directive of visiting planet Earth is to walk softly.
We're back in Roswell, where the festivities are switching into high gear with the arrival of an extraterrestrial belly dancer. And everyone's anxiously awaiting a mysterious rock and roll promoter who promises to produce the UFO extravaganza of a lifetime.
John Brower was the gentleman's name. He's talking about still having something at Hub Corn's Ranch, the Techno Bash or whatever it is.
I acknowledge daily that the prime directive of visiting planet Earth is to walk softly.
My plan today is to hook up with Morgiana, the intergalactic belly dancer.
All right, here we go. Walking down the street, getting the funniest looks from everyone we meet. It's all happening at once here. I am a visitor to this planet, and so are you.
We kept hearing the name John Brower at Chamber of Commerce meetings, city council meetings, and from various people we met. He's a promoter from LA, and he was initially hired to promote this event, but we never saw him at any of these meetings.
Stan Crosby's going to come up and take some questions if you have them.
We had a group that was coming here to do a big concert. That's on the agenda. It's been downgraded and gotten smaller and smaller every time I talk to the promoter. John Brower was the gentleman's name, and I don't know. He's talking about still having something at Hub Corn's Ranch, the Techno Bash or whatever it is.
John Brower started working several years ago with Stan to plan Encounter. He was going to be responsible for planning a big concert, and the city was going to receive 10%, which he and Stan estimated at about $1 million. But after a series of mishaps, he and Stan had a falling out, and Brower started planning a smaller concert out at Hub's Ranch.
Sheila, what was this? We heard something last night about problems with
permit.
Permit. Can you explain?
Yes.
What?
All we know about it is Hub found out about it yesterday afternoon.
Mhm.
And basically, Brower and Imp had gotten a permit going a couple of months ago, I guess, and then decided that they probably wouldn't need it, so they didn't go any further with it. And so that's the permit that's in question. So I guess we'll have to see what today holds.
This Teresa? Teresa Salas is head of emergency services for the city of Roswell, and she has been keeping close tabs on what's going on with John Brower.
I'm going to go try to talk to the manager of the motel where he made all his plans and had reserved all the rooms. He's supposed to have a press conference at 5 there. I'm going to go see if it's supposed to go off or if he's already canceled it and see if I can find out exactly what's going on. It's not just, oh, let's have a concert. We have responsibilities to the public, and that's what we're putting first, not his dollars. I don't see how anybody can put together a concert in 2 days. So that's why I'm here to find out. There was supposed to be a press conference here at 5 o'clock for John Brower. Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, because John Brower isn't going to make it till tomorrow, I believe.
Thanks, dear. Is that confirmed 7? He's not going to have a press conference.
Are you surprised that it's canceled?
I'm not surprised at all. It would have surprised me if he had actually held a press conference. It will surprise me if he shows up in town.
It seems like Sheila's just about had it. The concert at the Hub Ranch may not happen after all.
It just went on again, off again, on again, and I just want, if it's going to happen, okay. If it's not, well, that's fine too. I'm just tired of this not knowing.
But the local kids insist that John Brower's rave will still go on, and it'll be bigger than ever.
The old people are angry. We're going to wake them up.
And Stan and Dion seem to be losing control.
They've taken over room down here that they had no right to take over. They've stuck their sign on it. You've got to move that truck. You've got to move this. You've got to do that. Well, again, like I said a little earlier, I don't have to do anything.
Gary, this is Dion. Is MSNBC set up there this morning? They scheduled a lot of interviews with speakers, but they've changed back and forth from day to day, and I don't know where the speakers are supposed to meet them at.
Dion and Stan have been having a lot of trouble with MSNBC. They have a huge entourage that's come into town, and they are making a lot of demands on them.
MSNBC news crew cussed out one of my helpers this morning, so I'm not going to have any more tolerance with them.
We've been over backwards trying to be nice to these folks.
I know MSNBC's requested a lot of special treatment.
They've taken over a room down here that they had no right to take over. They've stuck their sign on it. We need to be here because we're doing our, nationwide evening news broadcast from this stage. You've got to move that truck. You've got to move this. You've got to do that. Well, again, like I said a little earlier, I don't have to do anything. They wanted me to make special room up there in the grass area so they can do their nightly broadcast now from East Coast through to California. Well, great. We're glad for the attention, but I'm not going to put up with any shit from these guys.
This is Dion. Gina from MSNBC just cussed out one of my helpers here. If this happens again and you can pass this on to MSNBC, I will cancel all of the speakers interviews with them. And I can do that. I will not have this, and I'm sorry, but they have been rude. They were, this morning they wanted us to open the museum at 5:30. They did not show up until 6, and so I'm not going to deal with them. Okay? Thank you.
Up until this point, Dion's been handling the pressure of Encounter really well, but today it just got to be a little bit too much for her.
Yeah, just a failure. Talk to you later. I'll talk to you later. Tell me a little bit about what's going on.
Speakers aren't showing up for their press conferences. So the press is getting on your case about it.
Corn Ranch Techno Party organizer lacks permit. Techno music party planned for this week. Organizers have no permit from Chaves County.
A possible disaster nearly erupted at Hub Corns Ranch when the county attorney informed him that he didn't have the proper permit to have a concert. Hub, I believe, had sort of left that up to this promoter from LA, John Brower, and for whatever reason, it just never materialized.
Have you been in touch with John Brower?
I haven't talked to him in 2 days.
I almost wonder if it's not a blessing, if we should just say, okay, that's it, we're done. We're just, it has just went on again, off again, on again, and I just want, if it's gonna happen, okay. If it's not, well, that's fine too. I'm just tired of this not knowing.
You want to come to a party?
We might be able to do that, sure.
Yeah, okay, we're having an alien watch tonight.
Okay.
And a lot of bands are coming out and all kinds of people, and we're just gonna have a crazy, crazy time, and it's gonna be so fun.
It looks like the big concert at Hub Corns Ranch might fall through, and we're starting to hear whisperings around town about a rave.
Hey, listen, there's a party tonight. There's gonna be so many people, we're having bands, and it's just gonna be great.
They're making phone calls and telling people on the street that there's definitely a party and they have to wait to find out where it's going to be.
The city has tried to print in the newspaper twice that we don't have the right permits, and they're making it hell for us because the old people are angry. We're gonna wake them up.
Have you guys ever had raves here before?
No, not to Roswell. No, Roswell's kind of a backward town.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm trying to reach John Brower.
And who might this be?
This is Katie Galloway.
Katie Galloway. Well, you have reached John Brower.
Hi, John, how are you?
Well, I don't know. Ask me in the morning after I drive 1,000 miles.
I know that there are some people that are bent out of shape. I mean, how do you feel about coming into town?
Well, who's bent out of shape? We have done what we could under the circumstances. And I have been subject to criticism in Roswell for the last 6 months, so this is nothing new to me. Mm-hmm. Roswell needs something new in the last couple of days. And that's what this musical event is going to do. It's going to put rockin' in Roswell all over the news, all over the world again.
Next time on Eyewitness, whether Roswell is ready or not, John Brower finally arrives and starts shaking things up from the moment he lands.
Oh my God.
God.
It looks like Stan and Dion are facing yet another potential disaster.
Excuse me, we had a slight problem.
And as Encounter 97 winds down, the locals worry about the future.
It's been hard to see all the slamming in the paper, and I mean, this is your reputation.